Tons of comments from the viewers on the variety of topics that we have on the table today. I'm dying to get the thoughts of our next guest, Kevin Karius. A night after the Oilers win, or a day after, we'll get to that. They beat Tampa Bay last night in Rogers Place. Kevin joins us. Hey, Dickie, I guess Atlanta's prospective ownership groups presenting to the NHL Board of Governors today. We're asking our viewers, are you for or against Atlanta getting an NHL expansion team? What would you vote on?
I would vote for yes, only because that would be another $1 billion into the pockets of revenue and owners. So I would go yes with the right ownership, right building, right location. I think they could make it work. So I would say yes if I had to go yes or no.
I'm voting yes, too. Also, I don't know if you saw us talking about the Biznasty video released, the 6 Irish golfers and the dust up with Biz. You and I were in a few tussles, but nothing like that I can remember. Huh? Do you?
Well, I was involved. You were watching.
How about that?
I started it. You finished it. That's what it was, I think. Okay. That's usually how it went. Thank God those days are behind us.
Yes, you're right. We're old guys now, but they can never end well. I mean, just look at look at the court case in the United States. With the guy, the Marine, right? Whenever you get involved, and I mean, you're trying to do your very best, and you're trying to protect people. Sometimes it can end badly, but you want to be a good Samaritan. That's the problem. Biz Nasty goes and tries to be a good Samaritan, and 6 village idiots do what they did, and. Sometimes you just wish that there would have been 6 or 7 friends of Biz Nasties available at the time and take it from there.
Yeah. Well, it's lionized him, if I'm using the proper term, or made him even more of a hero than he already has. So it's worked out okay. Looks like it's working out okay for the Oilers, too. I think they've won 6 of 7. Maybe they saw your last appearance on the show where you said they need to play hard for 60 minutes. Huh?
I was just thinking that when I was coming on with you, because the last time we were on is exactly that. And you were saying, you say this on the air all the time? Yeah, just being honest. But they weren't playing very well at the time. And now they are playing. They're playing like a team. They're playing playoff hockey. We saw that last night. You're looking at one of the highest powered offenses that came through town last night in Tampa Bay. With some scary, dangerous dudes when they are on the ice and clicking together. And for the most part, the Oilers played very responsibly with the puck at all times, all zones, save for the turnover by Evan Bouchard. That he 9 times out of 10, Evan Bouchard makes that play just up the wall instead of passing off to someone else. In that case, it was Matthias Ekholm, and making it his problem. Goes up the wall, and they're out of danger. It resulted in a goal. The good thing is that the Oilers came back and didn't let that deter them. Sometimes we've seen that. We've seen them not have the ability to shake off a bad goal or a letdown or a breakdown, but that wasn't the case last night, and they came back and got the big goal to make it 2-1 on Leon Draisaitl on the breakaway, sort of an own goal, I guess you could call it that. But they played hard last night. There's no denying that. They had no passengers, Roddy.
What's the schedule like ahead for them?
Tough, very tough, and that's why this was such a key to get off to a good start, because we're talking about 3 games in a row here where they're going to play division-leading teams. So off to Minnesota today to play the Wild tomorrow. Then Vegas is in town for a Saturday afternoon tilt. And then Monday night on Prime, it'll be Florida here. So you got 3 high-quality opponents that the Oilers are going to face next. And then the Boston Bruins are here. And that's always, whenever the Bruins are in town, they're third behind Montreal and Toronto for, teams that come in that they have a big following. So they got 4 big games here left on these 5 games where there's some tough opposition.
Well, we've been at this a while. I say the regular season's for lesson learning, and the playoffs are, to prove it, that you learned your lessons. Have the Oilers learned all theirs, do you think?
It's a hard question to answer because the personnel is different compared to what they had last year. Let's be honest. They're a goal away from sending Game 7 to overtime. If anything, that what you would learn from last year in the playoffs is that you don't want to go down 3-0. Beating any team in the playoffs, let alone the Stanley Cup final, beating them 4 times in a row is almost impossible. I mean, look at Florida. Couldn't do it. Had the Oilers down 3-0. Couldn't win Game 4, 5, 6. Took him till game 7. That's the only thing. That's a big lesson there. You can't go down 3-0 on a team.
Well, I think of Stuart Skinner after game 3 when he goes, if anybody can come back, it's the oil. I'm like, oh my God, what's he smoking? Then they do. And forced game 7. That was wild. Hey, listen.
And he's been really good. He's been
Yeah.
really good, Normie, here the last 5, 6, 7 games. He's been excellent. Allowed 7 goals in the last 5 games, and one of them was a loss where they lost 1-0 to Vegas. So he's been really good, Stu Skinner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great goalie. You ever want somebody on to talk about goalies? Call me. You've seen me play. You know that I know what it is. Listen,
Well, you were
stop.
by far the MVP, Roddy, when we were on the Broadcasting Bandits, when we won the intramurals back in 1989 or whatever it was.
We did a lot of winning. I know that. We did a lot of winning. Hey, Dave Campbell was on here last week, and he said somebody was trying to create a narrative that Bray Ford was not a guy that you want on your team. He didn't allude to who. And I'm not asking you who was trying to create it. But what do you think about that? Because that clearly they don't believe it because they locked him up for 3 years.
Well, that's because it's a totally different management, a team concept here. You got a new owner, you got a new president, you got a new GM, and you got a new coach. And that's why Trey Ford is here, because of that 4-pronged entity. That's why he's here. Under the other regime, he wasn't liked. You could say that. And we had Jarius Jackson on my show here on Sports 1440, had Chris Jones many times. They expressed, both of them, right off, one of their main things that they said. They put in a package for Trey Ford at the start of last year and said that Trey Ford, in their words, Trey Ford wanted no part of it. So someone isn't making sense here from what happened at the beginning of last year. When Jarius got hired after Chris Jones was fired, that's the first thing that he said. I asked him straight up on the show, and he said, well, same thing. Yeah, that's what Chris Jones said. Had the package in there. He didn't want it because if there were no passing plays, he wasn't going to be just a gimmick in the backfield. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I think it should be an interesting dynamic. As I said to you, I think maybe the last time, I haven't been this excited about football in this city for 8 years. That's how long it's been, because they lost me. The team lost me. Management lost me. The board of directors lost me. But I'm glad to see it back, hopefully heading in the right direction. I believe in Ed Hervey. I've known Chris Morris and Ed Hervey a long time. I believe that they're the right people to turn this around. And you know what? I remember interviewing Mark Killam, Roddy, when I was covering Golden Bears football. I used to sit on the park bench at Golden Bears football with Tom Wilkinson, and he'd have about 7 cans of snuff dripping all over his chin, down his shirt. And we sat and talked about football and life 3 times a week at Bears practices and enjoyed that. And Killam was one of the team captains. So I enjoyed talking to him 25 years ago and looking forward to what he can see being a head coach here.
Well, if there was ever a town that all it's going to take is to win and they'll come back, it's Edmonton for their CFL team. But I was going to ask you, because I won't ask Gregor if they're going in the right direction because he's the president of the Ed Hervey fan club. That's fine.
Yes.
But you have said you sign off on this. And that's all I need, Dick. So Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I do.
To you and yours. I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, I really do. I just want to mention, if you got quick 5 seconds, 10 seconds, tomorrow on our show, and it's a great story, and it involves Saskatchewan guys that we are familiar with, Kelly Chase and Kyle Chase. So I don't know if you're aware of this. Kyle, both of them are going to be on the show tomorrow. Kyle's heading to St. Louis to give his brother, Kelly, stem cell transplant. They're on their way on the weekend, Kelly is. So Kyle is, and Kelly's already in the hospital. Both are going to be on the show tomorrow. I texted Kelly this morning. I said, can you come on with your brother? He said, what time? He says, I'm in the hospital right now, but I'll make it happen. How cool is that?
Outstanding. Good story. Thanks for passing that along. And by the way, I like the self-portrait you have over your left shoulder there. Where did you get that? Look, put it on the full camera, folks.
A photo of Laura Baker. That's my wife.
How about that?
Poopsie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You bet.
All right.
Baby.
Merry Christmas. Good to see you.
Yeah. Happy holidays. I was just back in our fair province on the weekend, too. It's good to be back.
Wonderful place. Thank you, Dick. We'll be right back with overtime after this, everybody. We're live on Game Plus TV, live streaming as always, and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.